let's establish that it's a supremely stupid reason to support someone for president, just that you think they tell it like it is or they're politically incorrect. It's not difficult to be politically incorrect these days. We know the rules for political correctness are quite strict. So to be politically incorrect is not a difficult thing to do. To elect somebody president because of it is absurd. That doesn't mean they can run the country just because they can say things that are outrageous. But the second part of this is, so number one, it's a dumb reason to elect someone president. The second part of it is they don't actually appreciate political incorrectness, blunt talk, brash talk. If they did, I could respect that. I could respect them to a certain extent if they said, look, we like this from our guy. So if he dishes it out. So if you bring it right back to him, then we can take it and we can have a conversation along those lines. But they crumble into balls and just fall down in a fetal position in the corner of the room if you criticize their guy. So it's quite clear that they want Donald Trump to speak boldly about things, even if he's being dishonest. They actually do not want it from anyone else. And as I said in the piece, when it comes to telling it like it is, I actually have not in my life encountered a group of people more averse to being told how it is than Donald Trump's supporters. So the entire thing surrounding Donald Trump, all the reasons were given for why people support him and so on, it's just a giant heaping pile of BS. All of it is bogus. Everything we hear about it from everybody, it's just bogus.
One of the things that you've mentioned, and our previous guest, David Limbaugh, as well, has touched upon this briefly on Twitter, in looking at not just the exit polling data from South Carolina, but from New Hampshire. And I'm completely aware, too, because I'm sure people will point it out, that these are open primaries. And as we saw in New Hampshire, I think, over half of those individuals that turned out to vote, they ended up being Democrats, independents, moderate-leaning independents and Democrats. And so I'm not quite sure how that factors into South Carolina. But of the people who came out, he walked away with the evangelical vote. He walked away with the white male, 45 years and up, evangelical, tells it like it is vote. And I'm wondering if it's just, and I want to get your thought on this, based on this exit poll, because everyone was really pinning that evangelical on Iowa and South Carolina, is that symptomatic of a bigger problem, not just in terms of evangelicalism, but in terms of faith? Are we at a point now where we're even compromising in areas of faith? I've seen a lot of pastors get out there and endorse a guy who has defended federal funding for Planned Parenthood, a guy who's talked about how sleeping around was his version of Vietnam. And I have to question those people as shepherds of the flock if that's the person they're getting behind. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we go right down the list. I mean, we don't have, it would take 15 hours to list all of the things that Donald Trump has said and done that are unchristian. But the essential part of this for Christians, it's that, yes, he's an imperfect person. We're all imperfect. I think he's more imperfect than probably the average person. But the essential part is that he's unrepentant. He will not admit that these were sins. When he brags about sleeping with married women, he will not admit that it's a sin. He won't admit that he must ask for forgiveness for it. So and then you add everything with Planned Parenthood on top of it. For a Christian to support this is absolutely compromising your faith. The Christian leaders, so-called, Jerry Falwell Jr. and others who have done it, I mean, these are Judases. They've taken their 30 pieces of silver because, and I don't know what the reasons are exactly. Maybe they're friends with him. Maybe they're just looking for attention. Maybe he's promised them something behind the scenes. Maybe he's given them money. But whatever the reason is, they have betrayed their flock. They've put that ahead of their faith. Because it is unquestionable. We can talk about on secular grounds, is Donald Trump the right candidate? And of course the answer is no. But from a faith perspective, our faith as Christians should be the primary thing motivating us when we do anything. Our faith should be the primary thing, especially when we're choosing who's going to lead the country. That doesn't mean that we're electing a pastor in chief, but it does mean that if someone is cruel, spiteful, vengeful, unrepentant, and they're running for president, defying all of our core convictions and not even pretending to align with them, it does mean that obviously that's someone we should pass up on, particularly when there are other people in the race who appear to be decent, honest, for the most part, Christians. So it's mind-boggling.